So the big question is this: how do most agents who struggle to get the information that most successful agents hoard to themselves grow and prosper without this information? That's the big question, and this video cast is the answer. Welcome to Real Estate Rockstars. I'm your host, Pat Hyben. All right, Rockstar Nation, man, we have a guest I've been trying to get on the show for a while. This guy is busy, and he is going to be talking about what you want to hear. I had a conversation with someone the other day, and I was like, you know, man, I really should write a book or do something about agents balancing their lives and going on more vacations and stuff. And this is somebody else who I admire much in the field and look up to. And he said, Pat, you don't get it. He said, agents don't want that, right? Agents don't want that. All agents want is more leads. They want better leads. They want to close more leads. Get that in your mind. And this reminds me of why I'm here right now talking to David Tal, because this guy's an expert at leads and conversion, right? Lead and conversion, which means more commissions in your pocket. So without further ado, we're going to jump into some meat and potatoes, how you guys can make more money with leads and conversions. David, welcome to Real Estate Rockstar, brother.
Thanks for having me, Pat. Pleasure to be here.
Hey, why don't you give everybody a little rundown on who you are, a little bit about your company, that sort of thing.
Sure. I'm David Tal. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Agentology. I was a broker for over 10 years in San Diego and really saw the shift from, you know, how you would meet an agent 15 years ago by walking into an office and meeting an agent, to all of those home shoppers going online, giving rise to sites like Zillow and Realtor.com. And, you know, we recognize that the problem with all of these leads is they're cold, they're unscrubbed, they're not exclusive. And so with Agentology, what we're trying to do is help agents engage and qualify these internet leads. They're a different animal than your lead from, you know, 10 years ago, and you have to treat them differently. They have a different customer journey. And so we've become experts at how you engage, follow up, and convert these online leads into actual customers. So we're essentially trying to give agents the power of having their own world-class ISA team or inside sales team to help do this for you. Yeah,
so you don't have to build your own, right? So you don't, you've essentially got it built.
Yeah, you know, and the idea is that, you know, if you're generating 50 leads a month or even 200-300 leads a month, you may not need someone full-time in-house doing some of this for you.
Right.
It's really pricey. It's one of the hardest roles to hire for. And plus, you know, if you do hire an in-house ISA, you know, they're working for you Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, you know, but leads are coming in around the clock, all hours of the day, all days of the week. And if you're not engaging these leads effectively within minutes, and doing the follow-up necessary, you're burning cash and you're really losing out on opportunities. So we want to make sure to maximize the leads that you're buying online, to make sure you produce as much as you can on the same leads and the same lead sources that you're already generating leads from.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so I love how you have been able to take a lead, almost like an amoeba or a molecule, right, and put it under a microscope, or put the process of a lead under a microscope from the time that it comes in until the time an appointment happens, right? And that's kind of what you've done. So why don't you tell us, what does a lead look like when we put it under a microscope? What did you find when you looked under the microscope, and what do you think? You know, give us some idea of you know, what you've discovered and what agents should be doing about it.
Yeah, so there are all sorts of different, you know, lead sources. You know, you have the Zillow and Realtor.coms of the world. You also have, you know, IDX-driven leads that are coming from your own website, registration leads. You have Facebook leads and the new lead ad product from Facebook. All of these different leads have a different motivation, you know, temperature, if you will, at any one time. And you have to know how to differentiate between them and how to treat different leads differently, because frankly, they're coming in from different sites with different motivations and interests. Leads usually come in with very basic just contact information and maybe a property address that they're looking to inquire about. And what we have found is the biggest change in consumer behavior is how early on these leads are in their customer journey. When they're filling out a form online, it's extremely non-committal. They've never met you. They don't know what you look like. You don't know what they look like. They're just putting in their info, hopefully their real info, which many times are just putting in kind of junk info to get to the next step in that website. And you have to recognize that the high-pressured sales, let's go tomorrow looking at properties, if you're not making offers tomorrow, you're a junk lead, it is not a correct way to assess these leads. You have to know that these leads are filling out forms online far earlier in the customer journey, and you're going to need to take steps to engage them quickly and effectively to make sure that they do work with you, but give them a chance to breathe and recognize that they're months away, most likely, from acting. So you have to
respond immediately, but follow up slowly. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. You have to be professional and recognize that you do have to give them that instant response that consumers are expecting. You are 21 times more likely to convert an online lead into a client if you engage them within 5 minutes versus 30 minutes. That's how much that matters. And 72% of buyers and sellers will work with the first agent they meet with face-to-face. The big takeaway here is that consumers, back in the day, they were offline, right? They met you face-to-face day one, and you had that instant human connection made. And you shake their hand, and you looked them in the eye, and there was that human connection made. But now all these consumers are online, and so while technology has been great and has empowered consumers to do a lot more of that research themselves online first, it's also eroded that human connection that used to be made early on in the customer journey. And so what you have to know how to do is to take those online, home shoppers and move them offline. How do you do that? You have to give them that instant response and communication that they expect, and then bring them offline so you can meet them face to face. But you have to be cognizant of the fact that they're not going to buy with you a week later. That you have to take them and put them into a longer term nurture solution to effectively convert them over time into an actual customer. But if they've met you and made that human connection with you, it doesn't matter who else markets to them online. They already made a human connection. They're going to feel that loyalty to you months down the road still.
Wow. Okay, so great. So on this show, we're all about meat and potatoes. We're all about actionable content. So give us some actionable content on what we can do after you've made that human connection.
So after you've made a human connection, it's important that you're staying top of mind throughout their journey. So obviously sending them things like new property listings, sending them other information too that's not high pressure is really valuable. For example, saying, hey, I know you may not want to meet with me just yet, but here are a list of open houses. Are there any other neighborhoods you'd like me to send you some information on? Showing them that you care, that you give value, and that you're not going to be this high-pressured sales guy or woman will make them feel that much more comfortable with you and more loyal to you. It's kind of like when you walk into a department store or any kind of a store. If some guy starts blasting you right away with, hey, can I help you? Can I help you find, here are the jackets, here are this, are you a small, are you medium? You kind of get taken aback. You want that kind of more of that initial greeter perspective. Hey, welcome, so glad you came in today. Let me know if you have any questions, right? And then as they're searching for a coat, you can come along and suggest, hey, have you noticed our sale over here? Things like that. That's the way you want to treat these home shoppers in a similar way.
Okay, so give me some advice, right? Like how many days do I wait? What exactly do I say other than the one you already gave, the open house one? Give me 4 or 5 more just like that open house one. What else can I say when I'm following up?
Yeah, so I think it's really important to understand the motivation. Why are they looking to move, right? Why are they looking to buy or sell? Is it because they're expecting a baby or is it because they're divorcing? There are all sorts of different motivations, and understanding that will help you understand how to relate to the different clients you're going to be speaking with and engaging with. But before I go deeper into the follow-up piece, I want to spend a moment or two just recommending what to do on the initial engagement, because if you don't make it past the first few days, it doesn't matter afterwards. It really doesn't matter. The top of the funnel is the most important piece of this layer. And so when a lead comes in, the most important thing is speed to lead. Now, so if you can't call them within a minute or two, if you can't call them within a few minutes, make sure you have some kind of a responder or a service that at least calls or texts on your behalf. Something that's really valuable is to, if you're going to text, but offer to call them on the text. That way they know it's not an autoresponder, even if it is. So use your initial text. This is a trick to say something of the sort of, hey, Bob, this is David, from the Coldwell Banker team in Dallas, saw you were interested in this property on Zillow, is now a good time to chat? I'd be happy to give you a call. Many times they'll say, yeah, give me a call in half an hour, or I'm available now, or I can't talk. And then you start texting back and forth. But you created that engagement, right? Now, if they don't text you back or they don't pick up the phone, you want to make a few attempts. You want to make 3 or 4 attempts in the first 48 hours, combining calls, texts, and emails, just to make sure you hit all fronts.
I want you to think about the word toolbox. What is a toolbox? A toolbox is a box full of tools that you use to build something great. At Real Estate Rockstars, we've created our own free toolbox. So everybody that comes on the show as a guest brings a tool with them, and we plow them all into this toolbox, and we give it away for our viewing audience to basically use as they wish. Everything we put in there is an actionable item that can be downloaded, can be printed, can be used immediately. And we got things like scripts and dialogues, checklists for teams, checklists to keep agents accountable, referral forms that are filled out at settlement to get referrals by your buyers and sellers. Everything you could think of that you could use on a regular basis about real estate is included in this toolbox. And it's helping agents worldwide sell more houses and make their jobs a lot easier and processes much more efficient. And the thing is, it's absolutely free. All you got to do is go to hibandigital.com/toolbox or text the word toolbox to 444-999. That's toolbox 444-999. Do it now.
And
let's write that down. So you want to make 4 attempts in 24 hours. Right?
In 24 to 48 hours, depending when the lead came in.
And you're saying text first, ask for permission to call. Then if they don't give you permission, wait a couple hours and call?
Yeah. And if you can, call right away. Certainly if you're available, call right away.
If you can call right away, forget about asking permission. Just pick up the phone and call.
Yeah, absolutely. But the reality of it is that, leads are coming in at all days of the week, at all hours of the day. The likelihood of you being able to recognize a lead just came in and call them within 2 minutes is unlikely. The ones you can, you should. But you should set up systems like autoresponders, using a CRM or a service, like Agentology or others that can do this for you, so that you can certainly make sure you're engaging them at least via text within minutes, offering to call. That way you're buying some time, allowing them to respond and to see that you're responsive. One trick that is extremely valuable when you do call, it's called the double dial. If you call and they don't answer, do not leave a voicemail. Wait a minute and call back again.
It's funny, man. I've gotten a couple of those myself. That's why I've left, because I'm like, good Lord, right? Because the whole idea is it must be an emergency.
Exactly. People are really curious. Oh, why do they call back? It must be important. They pick up at a much higher rate when you double dial.
No, I love it. That's great.
So that's a trick, and it works. And by the way, people are not going to be taken aback by you, trying to be responsive. And if they do, and if they say, wow, like, man, I filled out a form and you've tried to call me twice and sent me a text, relax. You can say, hey, look, my focus is to help clients. I want to make sure I'm helping you. And this is how I would treat any listing as well. Any person interested in my listings, I make sure to be this responsive as well. And just so you know and feel more comfortable with that, NAR just came out with a report just a few weeks ago. They rated what customers value the most in the real estate agent. The number one thing was responsiveness, over experience, over local specialization.
I agree with that.
Okay, over negotiation skills, over all of that. over the stuff that saves them money directly, the number one thing they valued was responsiveness. So just know that that is number one.
Yeah. And, you know, and you can also say, hey, you know, most of my clients that I work with say the reason they work with me is because I'm so responsive. And all the other agents they've met, you know, it takes them forever to call back. So I just assume you wanted what everybody else seemed to want.
Yeah. And, you know, and we live in a world now too, where leads are not exclusive. For many of these portals, those same leads are going to multiple agents.
They all are. Yeah.
They all are. So you want to be the first to respond. That's why it's so important. You can't forget about that top of the funnel. Once you have them, my recommendation is to invite them to, even if they're not ready for 6 months to buy. You know, yeah, you're going to set them up on an MLS drip and send them new property, you know, alerts and things like that. Of course, you're going to be doing some of that, and you hope you will. However, there's no commitment to you until they meet you face to face. And so my recommendation is to invite them to a coffee, to a lunch, to an open house that you're hosting, to whatever it is, a low pressure invite, just to meet them face to face and just be like, hey, you know, I know of pocket listings. I know of deals that are always coming on the market. I'm representing sellers, and I know before they hit the market. Let's meet face to face. Let me buy you coffee, 15, 20 minutes of your time. I know you're not ready yet. I just want to get to know you to make sure that I understand who you are. That way, if anything does pop up before that 6 months, even 4 months from now, I can just make sure to keep you in mind. People respond extremely well to that. I used to do that as well when I was an agent and a broker, and it was extremely effective. Because if you think that just because you spoke to them by text or even by a phone call, that now they're your client, you're so wrong. You know, you're just so wrong. You have to take them from online to back offline.
Yeah, I like that visual.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so you're following up. Yeah, let's take a 10-day process, right? How many times you want to contact them in that 10 days? Let's say you called them, you texted them, and you got nowhere, or you did get somewhere, but you didn't schedule an appointment with them. Talk to me about that follow-up process. Let's say it's 10 days, 2 weeks. What do you recommend?
So we recommend making 10 attempts in the first 5 days.
Okay, 10 attempts in 5 days.
Yeah, and the reason is that statistics show that if you make 8 to 10 attempts, you're 83% more likely to convert that lead. You know, that's if you haven't reached them. Okay, that's to try to make that initial contact, right? Because the longer it goes, the more likely it is they forgot why they filled out that form.
Oh yeah, they will. I guarantee.
And who are you? And why? And why do you have my info? And so, you know, 2 weeks later, they've kind of forgotten. So those first 5 days is really important. That's not to say you can't put them on a longer term drip beyond that. But the human component of it, the trying to make calls, the trying to text them more personally, more contextually, I think matters the most in the first 5 days.
So what percentage of leads do you think, if you don't get them in the first 5 days, forget about them, right? Like, not to think like that. And I know that there's value in old leads, but would you say it's the 80-20 principle? Like 80% of the leads you close, you're probably going to make some sort of commitment to meet or to, you know, feel good about working with these people or something within the first 5 days, and 20% chance after that?
It's similar. It's something like that. And I don't have an exact statistic for you. But here's the bottom line with it is, where do you want to focus your energy, right? You know, if you buy 100 leads this month, if you generate 100 leads this month, and you make all of your attempts with them over the first 5 days, and by the way, you're going to get a hold of 80% of them most likely, even the ones who say buzz off, don't bother me again, or hey,
especially if you're calling them that much.
Yeah, or hey, this is the wrong number, right? Or hey, I'm not interested, or I'm a renter, or whatever the case may be. You're going to reach the majority of them. Now, that last 20% of them, you know, after 10 attempts, they haven't reached back out. They're non-responsive. How much more do you want to spend your time on them as opposed to focus on the next 80 next month?
Right.
You know, so it's not a matter of, and I hear agents say all the time, well, yeah, but, you know, out of those 20, I picked up one more 6 months later because I kept bothering them. And it's like, yes, absolutely, there's more there. But it's diminishing returns to your time, and it's what you value most. And so I recommend putting the other 20% on a long-term kind of fully automated drip. Don't
an email or something or whatever, but all your time should be focused on new leads. And if you don't have any new leads to call, then buy more or figure out ways to get more, you know. But within that first I like it. I mean, strike while the iron's hot, get them in that first 5 days, and just keep working within that 5-day vortex, and your sales revenue will skyrocket.
Absolutely.
And it's not so much a cold call after that. Like if you go into that long tail after 5 days, at some point it becomes a cold call, right? Where it's like you're calling them cold.
Yeah.
It's harder for agents to call prospects cold. It's easier for agents to call people who have a purpose in their call, meaning I'm calling you to talk about 123 Umpty Ump Street because you looked at it or you were interested in it, or you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. You want to be as relevant and contextual in your engagement. So if they just fill out a form on your website, you want to remind them, hey, you just completed a form on my website. You were looking at 123 Banana Street. This property, I know it has a couple offers on it. I just called the agent, right? You want to be very relevant, to show local expertise, to show value beyond what they already see online. These consumers are savvier today than they were 10 years ago. These sites have given them, and your own websites that you're giving access to, give them a lot of the same info that you used to be the only source for. And you have to recognize that they want additional value beyond what they can already find online. They want to know that the listing agents, and that how many offers they have, and that hey, I actually know of a seller on the same street who's about to list, and his house has 1 extra bedroom, and I think he's going to list at the same price. You want to give them that localized specialization and value that make them feel like, hey, what will I miss out on by not working with this agent? This guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, I like that. To make it seem like you're already working for them.
Yeah.
Especially if they already have another agent, or they're kind of hanging out with an agent, or they know of an agent, and that agent isn't being aggressive, and you're calling them up and saying, hey, an agent told me about a listing that may be coming on the market next week. I thought if you give me a call, I'll tell you about it. Then they're thinking suddenly, maybe this guy David has inside scoop, or maybe this guy David is really looking out for us, and the agent that we talked to 2 months ago, all he wants to do is email us listings, automatically from a computer. And
what happens is now that client will start to forward you the listings the other guy put them on a drip for, and say, hey, I got this one. Can we go see this one? And you're getting emails from the other guy, because, they just fill out a form, and then they just kept drip emailing them info. There's no commitment until they've met you face-to-face. I can't stress that enough. So that's extremely valuable. The other element here, which agents sometimes overlook, is on the lending side. Giving buyers value on the lending side. You can't really, steer and in that regard, but you can give them value. And if you know local lenders, and you know what rates are, and when there's rates that just went down, it's a great excuse to call up your buyers and say, hey, I know you already got pre-approved with this guy, but by the way, make sure you check back with them, because I noticed rates lowered, so maybe they can reapprove you for a lower rate if they've already locked you into one. Showing them that, again, come from a place of giving. You can make millions of dollars giving information out for free, right? And the most valuable thing you can do is to just give. Just give. That's the answer to everything in life. Just give. It comes back. And so when you offer buyers that you met, hey, I know you don't want me to go with you yet. I know it's early and you're just looking, but how about I send you a list of open houses that you can go look at on your own this week? They will feel so grateful and know that, wow, this guy genuinely cares. Like, why is he doing this, right? He cares. He's not high pressure. He's giving me value. Guess what? They're going to feel more inclined to work with you when they're ready, because they know you're a good guy and that you're there for them. Imagine if they're like, wow, look how much value he gives us when we have no commitment. Imagine how much value he gives us when his commissions are on the line.
I want you to think about the word toolbox. What is a toolbox? A toolbox is a box full of tools that you use to build something great. At Real Estate Rockstars, we've created our own free toolbox. So everybody that comes on the show as a guest brings a tool with them, and we plow them all into this toolbox, and we give it away for our viewing audience to basically use as they wish. Everything we put in there is an actionable item that can be downloaded, can be printed, can be used immediately. And we got things like scripts and dialogues, checklists for teams, checklists to keep agents accountable, referral forms that are filled out at settlement to get referrals by your buyers and sellers. Everything you could think of that you could use on a regular basis about real estate is included in this toolbox. And it's helping agents worldwide sell more houses and make their jobs a lot easier and processes much more efficient. And the thing is, it's absolutely free. All you got to do is go to hibandigital.com/toolbox or text the word toolbox to 444-999. That's toolbox 444-999. Do it now.
So,
and that tension doesn't exist. I think with a lot of agents, they're like, well, I don't want to give you this information until we meet face to face, or I don't want to waste any of my time. I think Gary Vee calls it the 51-49 principle, right? Every relationship you go into, you want to give minimum 51%. So you're always giving more, right? So
I cringe when I hear agents saying, I won't work with them unless they sign a exclusivity buyer's agent agreement. It's just, what are you saying? You're saying, give me all of your value before I give you any of mine.
Right. Yeah.
That's the opposite. That is not the 49-51 rule. That's the 0-100 rule. And that you're telling them, hey, I promise I'm going to, and what do they say? They say, well, we all have access to the same info. So if you want me to commit my time to you, what are you doing? You're devaluing your service entirely by saying, yes, you're right, buyer. Everyone can do the same thing as I can. But if I'm going to waste my time driving you around, I want to make sure you sign an agreement that you only drive around in my car. That is just the complete opposite way to go about it. It's laughable, but agents, have, and look, I understand where agents come from. They've gotten burned a couple of times, and they feel that now they have to go hardcore this way.
Of course, yeah.
Hard line in the sand. But you have to know that this is going to happen. Deal with it. Get over it. Grow up. It's going to happen. And you got to look at it as a numbers game. You're going to attract far more people into your funnel if you don't have those barriers. And you're going to come off with a much better reputation as well. What do you expect to happen even if they sign that exclusivity agreement and they don't want to work with you? What are you going to do? Force their hand?
Right. You're going to get a lawyer and sue them, right? And get
not going to do anything. All that crap, right? They're gonna bash you online. They're going to cause you headaches.
Right.
Come from a place of value.
No, I love it. And it's really easy, I think, to feel that way, to feel like you are abundant and you have abundant leads. So if they do screw you and go to an open house or a builder without you and you don't get paid on it, it's okay so long as you're living in that 5-day vortex, because in that 5-day vortex, you're going to talk to so many people, you're going to make it back up in a matter of days, if not sooner, right? You're just going to be like, okay, I lost that one. Yeah. But at 3 o'clock, that was at 9 o'clock this morning, at 3 o'clock this afternoon, boom. All of a sudden you talk to this really, really nice lady on the phone and she seems very, interested in moving. You know what I mean? You're going to stay in that vortex so that you're always going to feel abundant, right? You're always going to feel like it's okay. Let me give more.
Yeah. And by the way, when you give, guess what else happens? People start referring you. People say, wow, this agent, he's so cool. He keeps sending me all this value. He keeps giving me all this value. I'm not even sure I'm going to buy anything, but he's just hooking me up all the time with all this value. Hey, mom. Hey, sister. Hey, friend. Hey, coworker. You got to work with this guy. I highly recommend him. He's awesome. He's low pressure. He's all the things that we're afraid of in an agent. He's all of the opposite. And you start to get recommendations. I took the very kind of high road, the give first see what happens later approach to the nth degree. I went all in with it. I got more business from the referrals from my online leads than from the online leads themselves. Way more, because each of them knows, you're focused on your one sphere of influence, right? Well, each of your leads have a sphere of influence. And so think about the compound effects of that.
Yeah, it's massive, right?
Yep.
It's massive. And you're right. And they're going to reciprocate your giving, right?
Yep.
I mean, they can't, it's humanly impossible, right, to be given without, giving back elsewhere, whether you pay it forward or pay it backwards, right? They're going to, if you're have a giving mentality and you're like constantly giving and helping them out. Hey, how about this? Hey, how about this? How about rates dropped? How about this loan product got raised? How about these open houses? How about this, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be natural for them to be like, hey, our next door neighbor is getting ready to put their house on the market. You ought to talk to them. Absolutely.
And people love to talk about their biggest purchases. You don't go telling all your friends, hey, you got to go to Nordstrom's. I bought this amazing sweater. You got to go check it out. But when you buy a house, when you buy a car, when you get a good deal on flights, anything on the higher tier, more expensive, and homes are at the highest end of that, people share that experience, especially because it's a long process when you buy a home. You're searching for months. Your friends notice that you moved. You invite them over to your new house. They congratulate you. They talk about it. It's a conversational piece. And people share about that experience. And one of the first things they're going to share about is the loan they got, the agent they used, the price they got, the agent who helped them negotiate. Oh, there was this term we didn't even recognize. He helped us do a rent back. Oh, he saved our butts on this piece because we made sure to get that home warranty. I didn't even know what a home warranty was. And 2 weeks after I moved in, my fridge broke and it didn't cost me $1,000 because I had a home warranty. Those are the things that get shared. And we're in a social world now. People share this stuff with all of their spheres online. And this is what Gary Vee talks about as well. This is the thank you economy. If you read that, it's a fantastic book. When you create thank yous by giving, people spread that to their spheres, and that reciprocates. And that is the way companies are growing today, is by creating thank yous with their clients.
No, I love it. I love it. Very good stuff. Well, listen, David, I'm going to put everything that we've talked about today in the show notes at hibandigital.com/agentology. That's hibandigital.com/agentology. I'm also going to put in the show notes, as well as in our toolbox, a PDF of a checklist that David's going to provide. David, why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, I'm going to share with you guys a lead conversion checklist that ensures that you're doing everything possible to maximize conversions for your online leads. From the moment those leads come in, what you should do in the first minute to months later.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, guys. And definitely I'm going to put Agentology website as well as David's email in the show notes. So if you're overwhelmed and you're not meeting 10 contacts in 5 days to every single lead that comes in, I mean, every single one, do check him out. Do see what he's doing here, because he is doing some incredible stuff. He has over 1,000 real estate agents now using Agentology every day. Definitely check them out.
And I'll share a link with you, Pat, that you can share as well. This is not available on our website, but I want to give all of your listeners a free 30-day trial with Agentology. So you can see for yourself if it's valuable to you in the first 30 days, and then we're month to month. We're simple to deal with. So I hope that's valuable to your listeners.
Oh, yeah, big time. And I'll put that on the show notes, guys. So, David, thanks for taking time out of your busy day. I know you're running a lot of things over there, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Pat. Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for watching Real Estate Rockstars. Please give us a review wherever you're watching or wherever you're listening. We eat feedback for breakfast. And I don't care whether you give me a 1-star review or a 5-star review. I just want the review. I want to know what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong. Would love to improve things. Hey, and listen, please subscribe. The more subscribers we get and the more reviews we get, the better guests we'll get for you in the future. Feel free to reach out to me anywhere on social media. Just type in my name. I'm everywhere, and I look forward to meeting you in the digital world. Have a great day, and thanks again for listening to Real Estate Rockstars.